The summer heat in Memphis clung to everything, thick and humid like a wet blanket. For Lily Jensen, a film student from New York, it was a world away from the concrete canyons she knew. She'd landed the internship of a lifetime assisting a renowned documentary filmmaker, Mr. Harrison, on a new project that, to her absolute disbelief, centered around Elvis Presley. Not the stage performances or the movies, but the man himself, in his quiet moments, away from the roaring crowds. Her first week was a blur of introductions to various staff at Graceland Historical Archives and endless cups of sweet tea. Then came the day. Mr. Harrison, a man of few words but sharp eyes, had told her they were going to a local diner, a place Elvis supposedly frequented when he wanted a taste of home. Away from the grandeur of his mansion, Lily's heart hammered against her ribs. She'd seen pictures, heard the records, but meeting the king in person, it felt unreal. They arrived at the diner, a classic joint with red pie mousse and a checkered floor. The aroma of sizzling bacon and coffee hung in the air. Lily spotted him instantly. He wasn't in a flashy suit, but a simple plaid shirt and jeans, his dark hair slicked back. He was laughing with a couple of his Memphis Mafia buddies, a deep rumbling sound that made the whole booth seem to vibrate. He looked normal, and yet entirely extraordinary. A waitress placed a towering burger in front of him, piled high with cheese, bacon, and all the fixings. Lily watched, mesmerized by his hands, those famous hands that commanded a stage and held a microphone with such power. They reached for the burger, and that's when it happened. He didn't just pick it up. He studied it for a moment, like a sculptor contemplating a masterpiece. Then, with an almost surgical precision, he carefully pulled apart the top bun. Lily blinked. Was he dissecting it? He then, with his thumb and forefinger, scooped out a dollop of relish from the side and dabbed it onto the patty. Then a sliver of tomato placed just so. He didn't take a bite yet. Instead, he took the top bun, flipped it upside down, and used it like a small edible plate, stacking a few stray onions and pickles onto it. Lily's jaw almost dropped. He then took the bottom half of the burger without the top bun and carefully squeezed it, allowing a tiny bit of juice and melted cheese to ooze out, which he then unbelievably collected on the very edge of the inverted top bun. He dipped a single crisp French fry into this concoction, savored it with closed eyes, a small, blissful smile playing on his lips. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he reassembled the burger, carefully placing the inverted, decorated top bun back on. Took a deep breath, and then, and only then, did he take a bite. But it wasn't just a bite. It was a whole body experience. He leaned forward, eyes wide, as if tasting something profound for the first time. His shoulders relaxed. A sigh escaped his lips, and he chewed slowly, deliberately, his gaze distant, lost in thought. He didn't look at anyone, didn't seem to notice the hushed awe of the diner patrons, or the slightly bewildered look on Mr. Harrison's face. Next to Lily, Lily felt a strange mix of confusion, fascination, and an almost artistic wonder. It wasn't just messy, it was a ritual, a private performance played out with a simple burger. It was utterly, completely mesmerizing. She fumbled for her camera, wanting to capture it, but knew it would be rude. This wasn't for public consumption. This was something intimate, something unique, something she knew instinctively she had to understand. Over the next few days, Lily found herself constantly replaying the scene in her mind. It was a strange obsession, she knew, for a film student whose job was to document the life of a global icon. Yet that single moment in the diner, Elvis and his burger, felt more revealing, more personal than any interviewed or performance footage she'd reviewed so far. Mr. Harrison, bless his stoic heart, seemed oblivious to Lily's particular fixation. He gave her tasks, organizing old newspaper clippings, transcribing interviews, even running errands to local Memphis landmarks. But no matter what she was doing, her mind drifted back to the burger. She saw Elvis again a few times that week, always in casual settings, once at a recording studio during a break. He was leaning against a console, humming a tune, when a staff member brought him a plate, and there it was, another burger. Lily, pretending to adjust a microphone, watched him from across the room. He repeated the ritual. Precise separation of the bun, the careful arrangement of the condiments on the inverted top bun, the collection of the precious drippings, the single sacrificial fry. He didn't just eat it, he engaged with it. It was like he was dismantling it to understand its essence, then reassembling it for a heightened experience. He chewed with the same intense focus, the same distant, almost spiritual look in his eyes. This time Lily noticed something new. As he ate, he occasionally tapped his fingers rhythmically on the table, almost like a drummer. And his foot hidden beneath the table seemed to be gently tapping too. It wasn't just an eating habit. It was almost like a silent, internal performance. He was conducting a symphony of flavor, a private ballet of bites. She found herself sketching it in her notebook. Quick, messy lines trying to capture the flow of his movements, the angle of his head, the way his fingers curled around the bun. It looked ridiculous on paper, like a diagram from a secret society dedicated to burger appreciation. But to her, it was profound. He's a creature of habit, a grizzled sound engineer, Hank said to her one afternoon, noticing her watching Elvis sip a glass of milk. When he likes something, he sticks with it. Burgers, milk, peanut butter, and banana sandwiches. He knows what he likes, and he knows how he likes it. Lily nodded, scribbling a note. Does he always eat his burgers like that? She ventured, trying to sound casual. Hank chuckled. Like what, kid? Like a man who's been on the road and hasn't had a good home-cooked meal in weeks. He savors it. He grew up on simple stuff, never forgot where he came from, no matter how big he got. It was a start, a hint. It wasn't just a quirk. It was connected to his roots, to his past. Lily felt a spark of understanding ignite within her. It wasn't just a strange way to eat. It was a reflection of something deeper within him. The more she observed, the more she felt that this peculiar habit wasn't about fussiness or being eccentric for eccentricity's sake. It was about respect. Respect for the food, respect for the simple pleasure, and perhaps respect for the journey that brought him to this moment, sitting quietly in a studio, eating a burger. And Lily, with her camera ready, felt compelled to understand every single nuance. Lily began to subtly weave questions about Elvis's eating habits into her conversations with the people around him. She knew better than to directly ask, why does Elvis dismantle his burger before eating it? That would sound utterly insane. Instead, she'd ask about his favorite foods, his routines, anything that might shed light on his unique approach to the most American of meals. She spoke to the cooks at Graceland, stout women with kind eyes and hands that knew their way around a skillet. Oh, Elvis, he loves his Southern comfort food. One of them, Martha chuckled. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, banana pudding, and yes, lots of burgers. Always with extra everything. He likes to make sure every bite is just right. Just right how? Lily probed gently, leaning against the counter as Martha kneaded dough for biscuits. Martha paused flour, dusting her brow. Well, he's particular. Likes his bun toasted a certain way. His cheese melted but not too melted. Likes it fresh. Hot off the griddle. He's got a big S. He really seems to enjoy it, doesn't he like? It's a whole experience. That's Elvis, Martha said, returning to her dough. He puts his heart into everything. Singing, acting. Eating a burger, I guess. Later that week, Lily found herself in the Graceland kitchen, helping Martha put away groceries. Elvis wandered in looking for a snack. He wore a simple t-shirt, his hair a little messy. He looked tired but relaxed. He grabbed an apple, then spotted a plate of leftover French fries. Mind if I have a few of these, Martha? He asked, his voice a low rumble, surprisingly polite. Help yourself, honey. she replied, not even looking up from peeling potatoes. Elvis took a fry, dipped it into a tiny puddle of ketchup on the counter, and popped it into his mouth. He looked up and caught Lily's eye. She froze, feeling like she'd been caught trespassing. He smiled, a genuine, easy smile that made her forget for a moment that he was Elvis Presley. "You're Lily, right? Mr. Harrison's intern heard you're a whiz with that camera." "Yes, sir." Lily managed, her voice a little shaky. "Just trying to learn as much as I can." "Good. Always keep learning," he said, taking another fry. He didn't eat it like the burger, but with a simple, contented crunch. "This whole film thing, it's a lot of work, isn't it?" "It is," Lily agreed, feeling herself relax a fraction. "But it's fascinating getting to see how everything comes together." "It's like cooking in a way," Elvis mused, leaning against the counter. "You start with a bunch of ingredients separate, then you mix them, cook them, present them, and if you do it right, it's magic like this. Fry, simple but good. Real good." He looked at the fry, then back at Lily, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "Sometimes the simple things are the best things, ain't that right?" Lily nodded, a sudden warmth spreading through her. It wasn't an answer to her burger mystery, not directly, but it was a connection. He saw the world, even a simple French fry, as something to be savored, to be understood, to be appreciated in its component parts. The mystery of the burger deepened, but it also became clearer. It wasn't just a quirk, it was part of the very fabric of Elvis Presley, and she was more determined than ever to unravel its true meaning. Lily spent hours in the Graceland archives, poring over old photographs, newspaper clippings, and even home movies. Mr. Harrison wanted her to find anything that showed Elvis in an unposed, natural light. She was looking for any visual cues, any tiny detail that might connect to her burger theory. She found a black and white photo of a young Elvis, barely out of his teens, sitting at a kitchen table in Tupelo. His mother, Gladys, was across from him, a plate of what looked like humble fried bologna in front of them. He wasn't dismantling it, but his posture was the same. Leaning forward, eyes downcast, a focused intensity. It wasn't a burger, but the devotion to the food was strikingly similar. In another grainy home movie, Elvis was on a picnic blanket with his cousins. A spread of simple sandwiches and fruit laid out. He picked up a sandwich, observed it, then took a bite, but he turned it sideways, almost like he was tasting each layer individually before bringing them all together. It was a subtle movement, easily missed, but Lily's trained eye caught it. It wasn't a full-blown burger ritual, but it was a seed, a hint of an ingrained habit perhaps taught or observed in childhood. She started seeing parallels between this methodical way of eating and Elvis's music itself. His early recordings had a raw, almost deconstructed energy. He'd take blues, gospel country, separate elements, and then fuse them together in a way no one else had, like he was dissecting the essence of each genre, and then reassembling them into something entirely new, something electrifying. Was his eating habit a physical manifestation of his artistic process? One afternoon, while she was setting up a camera for Mr. Harrison in the living room, Elvis walked in. He was wearing an elaborate, shimmering stage outfit, likely for a photo shoot. He looked less like a man and more like a myth, his presence filling the room. Lily felt her usual star-struck shyness return. He paused, looking at the camera. "You got a good eye, Lily," he said, his voice surprising soft. "You see things other folks miss." Lily felt a blush creep up her neck. "I try, sir. It's my passion." He nodded, then looked towards the grand piano. He sat down, fingers hovering over the keys, but didn't play. His hands, usually so expressive, were still. She remembered his hands with the burger, so precise, so deliberate. The power they held, whether in a stage gesture or in disassembling a meal. "Sometimes," he said, his voice quiet, "when things get crazy and you feel like the whole world's pulling you in different directions, you gotta find a way to ground yourself to remember what's real." He finally touched the keys. A single mournful chord, then a bluesy riff that seemed to speak of loneliness and longing. He wasn't talking about burgers, not explicitly, But Lily felt it. The burger ritual, about finding a moment of control and appreciation in a life that was otherwise spinning wildly. It was about connection to something simple and fundamental in a world that was anything. The mesmerizing quality she'd first seen wasn't just about the strangeness of the act. It was about the profound peace and focus it brought him. It was no longer just an odd habit. It was a profound insight into the man behind a legend. Lily knew she needed more than observations and vague family anecdotes. She needed stories, real tangible memories, from people who had known Elvis before. The fame, before the world started watching his every move. She asked Mr. Harrison for permission to interview some older residents in Tupelo and Memphis. People who might have known Elvis when he was just a kid or a struggling musician. Mr. Harrison, intrigued by her initiative, gave her the green light. She traveled to Tupelo first, a small town that still held echoes of Elvis's humble beginnings. She spoke to an elderly woman who used to run a small grocery store near his childhood home. "Oh, Elvis? Sweetest boy you ever did meet," the woman, Mrs. Clara May, said, her voice raspy with age. "Always polite and always hungry. Them were lean times. You was a magician in the kitchen with what little they had. Made a meal out of nothing." "Did he have any favorite foods?" Lily asked, trying to steer the conversation subtly. "Eat them in a particular way." Mrs. Clara May chuckled, a warm, knowing sound. Sometimes she'd even take a bite first, real slow, and show him, "See, you get the pickle, the onion, the meat all together. That's how you make it last. That's how you appreciate it." And he just took that to heart. I reckon made a game out of it almost. Lily felt a jolt, like a missing piece of a puzzle had just clicked into place. "So he learned it from his mother?" "Oh, absolutely." Mrs. Clara May confirmed. Gladys was a real special woman. She taught him to appreciate every little thing because they didn't have much. Taught him to savor life, honey, not just live it. The revelation was profound. The mesmerizing ritual wasn't a quirk of fame or an eccentric habit. It was a deeply ingrained lesson from his childhood, a loving instruction from his mother designed to teach him gratitude and mindfulness in a time of scarcity. It was a secret language of appreciation. Back in Memphis, Lily felt a new understanding settle over her. She watched old interviews with Elvis, not just listening to his words, but watching his subtle gestures, his expressions. She saw the influence of Gladys everywhere, in his humility, his generosity, his enduring love for his roots. The burger ritual was a constant, tangible link to that foundation. It was no longer a mystery to be solved, but a story to be told. A heartwarming story about a mother's simple wisdom passed down to her son, who carried it with him through fame and fortune, using it as a silent anchor, a way to remember the preciousness of every single bite and every single moment. The unique way Elvis ate a burger wasn't just about the food. It was about love, gratitude, and the enduring power of a mother's teaching. The opportunity came unexpectedly. Mr. Harrison had to fly out for a few days to handle a production emergency, leaving Lily to manage some of the local research. One evening, after a long day of reviewing archival footage, Lily was heading out when she heard music coming from Elvis's private music room at Graceland. It was a gospel hymn played on the piano, soulful and mournful. She hesitated, then realized the door was ajar. She peered in. Elvis was there alone, sitting at the piano, his back to her. He was still in his day clothes, looking relaxed. A half-eaten burger sat on a small table beside him, and she recognized it instantly. The telltale separated bun, the carefully arranged condiments. He paused his playing, sighed deeply, then turned and noticed her. He didn't look startled, just calm. "Lily, isn't it still working hard?" "Yes, Mr. Presley, just heading out," she replied, her voice soft. "Come on in. Don't be shy." He gestured to a comfortable armchair. "Just taking a break. You mind a little music?" Lily felt a thrill go through her. Not at all, sir. Your music is incredible. He chuckled softly. Just trying to remember where it all started. Sometimes it gets a little loud out there, you know. Good to come back to the quiet. He gestured to the burger. You want a bite? Martha made it best in the world. No thank you, sir, Lily said, trying to contain her excitement. This was her chance. She took a breath. If you don't mind me asking, Mr. Presley, I've noticed you have a very unique way of eating your burgers. He stopped, his hand hovering over the burger. He looked at her, and for a moment she thought she'd overstep, but then a slow smile spread across his face, a private, knowing smile. Ah, you noticed that, did you? He picked up the burger, turning it in his hands. Most folks just wolf it down, but my mama Gladys, she taught me different. He took a careful bite, just as Lily had observed countless times, his eyes closing in blissful concentration. When I was a boy, we didn't always have much. A burger was a treat, a real treat. And Mama, she wanted us to appreciate every single bit of it. He separated the bun again, showing her. She'd say, Elvis, don't just eat. Experience, taste the meat, taste the bun, taste the pickle. Separate, then put them together just so, and you taste the magic of all of them at once. He demonstrated carefully, picking a sliver of onion, a tiny piece of cheese, placing them meticulously on the inverted top bun. She'd say, make sure you get a little bit of everything in each bite, son. That's how you make it last. That's how you savor the blessing. He chuckled, a warm, nostalgic sound. It started as a way to make a small meal feel bigger. I guess to really get every cent's worth out of it, but it became a habit, a way to slow down, to remind myself of those simple times, to remember Mama. Took another slow, deliberate bite, his gaze distant, lost in memory. No matter how fancy the meal gets or how many folks are watching this, right here, this is home. This is Mama. This is remembering to be grateful for every single thing, big or small. Carky habit she'd been so fascinated by was a beautiful living tribute. It was his anchor to his past, to his mother, to the core values of gratitude and simplicity that fame could never truly erase. It was the king brought back to the boy one perfect bite at a time. With the mystery solved, Lily felt a profound shift in her understanding of Elvis. He wasn't just a subject for her documentary. He was a person of immense depth, grounded by simple truths that resonated deeply within her own spirit. The burger ritual, once an intriguing puzzle, became a symbol of his humility, his enduring connection to his roots, and his quiet appreciation for life's simplest blessings. Her perspective on the documentary shifted to Mr. Harrison's vision was more about the public Elvis, the phenomenon. But Lily now saw a different, more compelling narrative. She still filmed the concerts, the fan interactions, the grandiosity of Graceland, but she also sought out the quiet moments, the subtle gestures, the lingering glances that hinted at the man beneath the legend. She wasn't just documenting Elvis, she was trying to capture the essence of Elvis, which to her was intimately tied to that perfectly deconstructed burger. One afternoon, a small group of children from a local Memphis orphanage were invited to Graceland for a special visit. Elvis loved children, and he spent time laughing with them, signing autographs, and even playing a few chords on the piano for them. Lily was there, filming, careful to be unobtrusive. During a break, plates of snacks were brought out, including small individual burgers for the children. Lily watched as Elvis, without thinking, carefully separated his own burger. But this time he looked up and saw a little girl, no older than 7, staring at him, wide-eyed. "What's wrong, little darling?" he asked, his voice gentle. The girl pointed at his burger. "Why are you taking it apart?" Elvis smiled, a soft, kind smile. "Well, sweet pea," he began, "my mama taught me that every bite is a blessing, and sometimes you gotta take your time with a blessing. Make sure you taste every little bit of it." He took a tiny piece of lettuce, then a crumb of bun, and showed her, "See, this is the crunch, this is the soft, This is the savory. He then gently helped her carefully peel back her own top bun. Now, you try it. Put a little bit of this and a little bit of that all together, like a little secret recipe just for you. And then when you take a bite, you close your eyes and you think about how good it tastes and how lucky you are to have it. Did exactly as he instructed. She giggled when she collected a stray pickle, her small fingers careful and precise. She assembled her tiny burger, took a bite and her eyes widened. It tastes even better, she exclaimed. Elvis chuckled. Oh, it's new best. Lily, watching through her lens, felt tears prick her eyes. This wasn't just a personal ritual anymore. It was a lesson in mindfulness, a quiet act of generosity, a way of passing on a cherished tradition. It was heartwarming beyond measure. The mesmerizing way he ate a burger wasn't just for him. It was something he shared, a silent testament to a life lived with appreciation and a gentle reminder that even the king of rock and roll found joy and meaning in the simplest of gestures. As summer drew to a close, the Memphis heat began to temper, giving way to cooler, crisper mornings. Lily's internship was winding down, and a bittersweet feeling settled over her. She'd learned so much more than just filmmaking techniques. She'd learned about grace, humility, and the quiet beauty of a man who carried the world on his shoulders, but found peace in the simplest of rituals. Her last official day with Mr. Harrison was spent reviewing the footage she'd helped capture. He paused. A clip of Elvis on stage, bathed in sweat and adoration. You've got a good eye, Lily, he admitted, a rare compliment from the stoic director. You've captured something here, something more than just the spectacle. You found a heart. Lily smiled, knowing a significant part of that heart was tangled up in a hamburger. That evening, Elvis invited Mr. Harrison and Lily to a casual farewell dinner at Graceland. It was just a small gathering, intimate and relaxed. As plates of food were brought out, Lily watched, not with analytical curiosity this time, but with a deep sense of familiarity and affection. As Elvis reached for his burger, he went through the motions she now knew by heart, the careful separation of the bun, the artistic arrangement of condiments, the precious collection of drippings, the single, sacrificial fry. But this time, watching him, she saw not strangeness, but profound beauty. It was a dance of gratitude, a silent prayer of appreciation. A deeply personal moment of grounding amidst the whirlwind of his life. He caught her watching, not with a knowing grin, but with a gentle, almost vulnerable look in his eyes. Last one before you head back to the big city, huh? He murmured, gesturing to his half-eaten burger. Yes, sir, Lily replied, her voice soft. I'll never forget it, he chuckled. Good. Don't forget to savor the good things in life, Lily. Doesn't matter how big or small. They're all blessings. Paused, then added, You got a good spirit, kid. You see things for what they are. That's a rare gift. Lily felt a lump in her throat. His words were a validation, not just of her skills as a filmmaker, but of her ability to see past the celebrity and connect with the human being. She had come to Graceland to film a legend, but she was leaving with a profound understanding of a man who found his truest self in a simple burger eaten, with mindful appreciation. It was a lesson she knew she'd carry with her, long after the Memphis heat had faded from her memory. Back in New York, the frenetic energy of the city felt different to Lily. She was no longer just a wide-eyed film student. She was a storyteller with a newfound depth of understanding. She spent weeks in the editing suite, carefully crafting her final project for film school. A short documentary she'd decided to call The King's Quiet Table. She didn't explicitly show Elvis eating his burger in that unique way. Instead, she wove in the themes of simplicity, gratitude, and the enduring power of childhood memories. She used footage of Graceland's quiet corners, the warmth of the Memphis sun, the sounds of gospel music intercut with Elvis's soulful voice, speaking about his mother, about his roots, about finding peace in small moments. The burger ritual became an unspoken metaphor, a silent undercurrent that informed every frame. Her film, Professor, a stern, unyielding critic, watched the final cut in silence. When the credits rolled, he slowly removed his glasses. "Ms. Jensen," he said, his voice unusually soft. "This is not just a film about Elvis Presley. This is a film about humanity, about connection, about finding the sacred in the mundane. You found the soul of the man, not just the star. How did you do it?" Lily smiled, a private, knowing smile. "I just tried to see him through the small things, Professor, the things that truly mattered to him." "Remarkable," he concluded. "Truly remarkable." The King's Quiet Table became a sensation in the film school, then beyond. It won awards, garnered critical acclaim, and launched Lily's career. She became known for her ability to capture the authentic human side of her subjects, finding the profound in the seemingly ordinary years past. Lily directed major documentaries, traveled the world, and built a reputation for her empathetic lens. Yet in moments of stress or overwhelming pressure, she would find herself recalling a simple scene: a man, a burger, and a ritual born of love and gratitude. Sometimes, after a long, demanding day of shooting, she'd order a burger for herself. And as she ate it, she wouldn't just bite into it. She'd pause. She'd carefully separate the bun, arrange the toppings almost unconsciously. She'd take a moment, a single, deliberate moment, to appreciate the simple textures, the blend of flavors, the quiet comfort of the meal. She'd close her eyes just for a second and remember it was about the lesson that Elvis the King had unknowingly taught her, that even in the grandest, most dazzling life, true richness lies in savoring every moment, finding gratitude in every blessing, and never forgetting the simple, heartwarming truths that ground us. The legacy of Elvis Presley for Lily wasn't just in his music or his fame, but in the quiet, mesmerizing, and utterly beautiful way he ate a burger, a lesson in living one perfect bite at a time.